All right, we're live. Well, let me just double check that we are live on Twitch. There we go. Girl, I was 1 minute late because major reset energy. My computer reset. None of my passwords were saved. I was like, what is happening? So anyway, we're only 1 minute late. Shay is on. Hello. Oh, Palo. Oh, thank God. Yes, cleansing. Shay, anyone watching on YouTube, I've got you should just log in to Twitch and catch this live stream. But if you're watching it on YouTube, I'm going to be addressing the chats, obviously. So Shay is here with some Palo Santo cleansing shit. I appreciate all of that because, my God, it has been so intense. I finally feel like I'm coming up for air though, so about time. Where do I even start? Okay, it's just been a lot. We're gonna start with some astrology weather. We're also gonna start with a proper introduction. My name is KK, the Pirate Queen, church at the Midnight Diner Mystery School. Boy, oh boy, if the start time of 117 isn't absolutely what we're talking about, this fear portal, goddamn, the Mars retrograde. It's pretty incredible though. Like I posted a meme last night on somewhere, I don't know where I posted it, where it was like, you know how when you play video games and some people just go through the main quest and only do the side quests if they have to or whatever. I always do the side quest. I like level up so hard, and by the time I get to boss battles, I'm like, I can usually handle that shit. But there was one, it was like this old comic about a character who finally arrived at the boss battle, and the boss battle was like, hey, what took you so long? It's like the character's doing all the side quests, and the boss battle's like, this is supposed to be a boss battle. And the character is like all muscled up in big armor with a huge sword and all the weapons, and he's like, it is a boss battle for you. The boss is like sweating. That's what it feels like right now. I feel we have been through so much stuff, and we are finally kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. There's a lot of, I don't have all the clarity yet or whatever, but it's definitely getting better, even though there's still like a lot of shit going on. So Mars and Cancer. Mars is like hot, fiery, whatever. And then Cancer is cleansing. It's water energy. And so I have had plumbing issues basically all of Mars retrograde story. Like since it's the build up for the Mars retrograde story started in October, but like I moved in November and had an immediate like well pipe burst and had to excavate and the whole thing. Then something else happened. I can't remember. Anyway, right now the Mars at the last degree of any malefic at the end of Mars at the end of a sign. Let me just back up. Mars and Saturn are malefics, and so that doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they do cause some tension and some trouble sometimes. But in the name of making you a warrior in the garden, or like it's to build a good foundation. But malefic as in, it's not an easy road. It's not super like, you're going to have some battles or you're going to have some struggles. And so the 29th degree of any sign is known as the anaretic degree, which is the crisis point, because it's right before you move. You spent 30 degrees in a sign and then you move into the fresh energy. And so that 29th degree is just like when a malefic is on that, it's just some shit is going to go down. And so Mars at the 29th degree of Cancer brought a big hot water tank, literally hot Mars water Cancer. I mean, it was like, it's so on the nose. When I say astrology proves itself, it's like, and that's the thing, it's called astrologer good too, where it's not a good thing that happened to me necessarily, but like it just proves astrology. So we call it astrologer good. So I had an astrologer good moment of fucking Mars and at the end of Cancer giving me a hot water tank trouble. So it's been a lot, and I have to cut off the whole water to the house though, because even in the off position for the hot water tank, because it's leaking everywhere, and the guy can't come to fix it or replace it until sometime this upcoming week. But I've been without hot water for over a week, so it's just, I have the dial turned off, but the valve is still leaking even in the off position, so I have to shut the water off to the whole house and then turn it back on when I need to flush the toilet or run some water or whatever. So I turn it on in the morning for a couple hours just to kind of have my coffee and brush my teeth and all the things, and then, whatever. So I was not sure I was going to be able to do this stream today, because the last few weeks have just been so intense, and I just have been in a big low in particular the past week. And so I thought, I'm getting all these nudges to do the stream today, and I'm like, there's just no fucking way I'm going to be able to talk or any of that. I haven't been able to talk to any of my friends. I've been just kind of like sitting there processing all the things that have been happening. So, and it's not all bad stuff, but it has just been very intense. And so last night I had a big clearing. Speaking of Palo Santo, I didn't use Palo Santo, but like I had a gummy. I had a good hot meal. I made some yummy lemon chicken soup. So I had this hot, fresh, homemade meal. And I was like just ground in the body. And I just breathed. I breathed. And finally, some clarity started to come in about, one, relief had started to come in, because I'm just like through some of the more intense things that I knew I had to get through in order to sort of move on and whatever, including the housemate situation. So for anyone who hasn't listened to the previous episode 2, I go into a housemate scenario where it was not a good situation, but it was ultimately really good because it got me to step into my power and to, break ancestral and karmic patterns, all kinds of sitting in the fear and deepest fears, and seeing that I'm still alive, everything's fine, I'm powerful, no one's gonna come for me, even if you blow up a friendship or a whole situation. So anyway, the whole housemate thing was finally came to a conclusion on Tuesday, which was the same day that we had mediation for this family lawsuit that I'm in. My uncles are suing my mom over my grandparents' trust, whatever. Anyway, it's like a lot of bullshittery and cartoon dumbassery. Like, I won't go into the details because honestly it's fucking boring and so stupid, but like when I tell you it's cartoonish, I don't even know. And so part of the reason I'm able to sort of hold my center through all this stupidity is because when it's cartoonish like this, it's like a breakthrough's coming. Like, I don't know. And so for me, I was going to go in person, but ended up calling in over the phone instead. And so I was able to not have my energy in the room and like just whatever. So I was sitting outside and there were dandelions and bees and fresh air and sunshine, and I was conferenced in, and I didn't really even say a whole lot. And honestly, once they took a break in the afternoon, I was like, oh, just call me back, whatever. And they never called me back. So I just had a couple hours to be like, okay, and I took those hours to actually also write myself, or aspects of myself, or experiences, my old chapter experiences. I wrote some letters, and it felt very cleansing to kind of go through the energy and sort of sit in the craziness of the mediation dumbass stuff, which of course did not go well. Like, this is the thing with the energy, because the Mars and Pluto opposition was building last Tuesday, and the tension was there, and I knew it was just going to be a bunch of people throwing around their weight and throwing fits and demanding this and tearing people down. I knew it was going to be all that, and that's exactly what it was. So whatever. But I was able to kind of keep withdrawing your energy from a thing dries it up, which was a message I got through a friend the day before. And so it helped me to know I was doing the right thing, because it felt really weird to not go in person and to just call in, because I thought it was not like breaking the law, but letting people, like people pleasing stuff, like letting people down, following authority, instructions, that kind of thing. And I was really terrified to actually do that, but I did. And that's what this whole, since October, November, it's been building, facing your fears and doing something different and allowing the energy to change and allowing yourself to write new stories. So that's what this was. And it was really, I've been making a lot of scary feeling decisions lately. And that's what I mean when I say that we're Buffy and that, hell is this, it's your own personal room in hell is just, it's unlocked, it's wide open, you could leave anytime, but you have to go through the monsters to get to, I don't want to say the promised land because it sounds weird and Jesus-y, but that's what it is. It's just more, it's like you want to build this new life for yourself. Like we can all feel the old is crumbling, the new is coming in. And so in order to get to the new, we have to titrate off the old and move through the fear, which is something we've been addicted to, fear, misery, suffering, all that stuff on the old timeline. And now we're moving into the new one, which is more joy-filled and fun and easeful, etc. But moving through and making the scary decisions. Wow. I mean, I talk about this stuff, and it's not that I haven't done scary things before, but this has been a whole new level of it. And one of the things that it's teaching us how to do is to, what are our reactions? What are our patterns in the face of conflict and pressure and stress? And this is very much a get off the couch and do something about it energy, because there's a T-square in the sky astrologically right now. So Mars and Pluto are opposite each other, and then at the right angle of that is Black Moon Lilith. And so there's a big conversation with deepest wounds, deepest soul wounds. I mean, like the shit you don't know why you feel grief over. Like, why is it so deep? Even if like this lifetime hasn't been super crazy experience, you still feel this grief around certain topics, or maybe you don't even know why you're feeling grief. It just feels so like a lot. I've been doing a lot of emotional processing. And so these are like deep soul wounds, like millennia. I don't know. This is kind of tying into some of the galactic history that explains some of the context about what's happening now, but we're going to ADD all over the place, so stay with me. But I've been getting, where do I go from there? The Orion Wars, okay, galactic history speaking, are playing out on Earth right now, as far as like wrapping up that karma, breaking the patterns, building something new, going to the original ascension timeline, etc. And what the Orion Wars is basically Star Wars, the movies. George Lucas channeled this stuff, and it's our past. And so there's like the evil empire and the oppressed people and the Jedis, the rebels, and that's been kind of those three rescuer, we're healing all of these, old patterns. So Earth was chosen as like the final playground, battleground, whatever, of all these energies playing out. So everything that we're experiencing right now is tied into the soul history that we're all bringing in with us to clear for ourselves personally, but also, for our lineages and for Earth. And Orion light in the future is kind of streaming, because time isn't real, or it's real, but we can receive healing from the future in order to get us on the golden timeline and all that stuff. So what we're getting a lot of wisdom from the future Orion selves that have healed all this conflict, and we're kind of healing it here too, so that as a whole the universe is coming into harmony and moving up in dimensions. And I don't quite understand all of the details of this yet, because I'm still kind of chewing on this and gathering information, and the memories are coming back and whatever, but it's still kind of early-ish stages. But this is the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about more and more moving forward. So I guess I'll just start practicing and see what comes out. Oh my gosh, this perimenopause fucking taking out thoughts from my brain. Anyway, we'll just keep talking. But yeah, so we're playing out these Orion War karma stuff. And so that's what we're seeing out there. All the war, all the separation, it really stems from when we started this whole separation game, and by game I mean experiment, experiences, whatever, it's like a cosmic imagination experiencing itself and breaking off into little pieces and, you know, forgetting that it's part of God and thinking it's by itself and all the exploration that it could, just forgetting that you're part of God and that you are on your own journey, unsupported, whatever. And what do you do when that happens? Like, where do you go exploring? How do you act? How do you develop? How do you evolve? And so billions of whatever amount of years ago in linear time, a group of original source broke off called the Lyrans. I don't really know. I've heard it both ways. I keep saying Lyrans because that was how I originally said it, but then enough people have said Lyrans that I'm like, oh, maybe it's that. Who knows? I'll say it both probably. Anyway, they're sort of like the feline humanoid figure races, and they went off to explore and do this and that and colonized all that kind of karma. Again, colonizer karma, stuff that we're healing now, which led to a lot of wars and a lot of just duking it out over ideologies and who remembers what and who wants to do this. Anyway, so there's a lot of separation. All these things that we're feeling right now and experiencing are the original separation from source wound that we've been playing out. And so somehow, I think this was my original thought that I lost, some part of this separation game, we're all like leveling up. So to me, it kind of feels like this is the last frontier sort of thing, or the last round of playing out those old karmic loops, and we're all going to be in something completely different that we haven't ever seen before. And I mean every dimension. I've heard Alex Collier talk about how they're in like 1997 or something, some harmonic convergence, I don't know, where a black hole or all black holes, I can't remember what he said, started emitting a new frequency of some sort. And so every dimension is kind of evolving to the next one. And I don't know if that means the other dimension, like the lower dimensions collapse, like they go into the black hole and then like through the white hole, something else gets birthed. It kind of reminds me of The Good Place where the Good Place is old enough now that but spoilers in case you haven't fucking seen it. But at the end, they walk through a door and they don't know what the fuck is on the other side of that door. But that's how, you know, that's what I feel like is happening right now. We're going through this door and we don't really know what it is. And so it's pretty exciting. And so that means, you know, all the star family that we're going to be connecting with as these years continue, and it's going to start happening now-ish. We're going to start, and I do mean star family from other constellations, is aliens, whatever you want to call them. We're all kind of gathering together right now to bring us all back into alignment and take out, you know, false timelines and other dark experiences that we did for side quests. This is a thing we took on purpose. So the inverted matrix that everybody talks about and wanting to escape in the prison planet, we built that. We wanted to experience it in the name of soul growth and just information gathering and storytelling and all the things. So anyway, I don't know. This is all just kind of been percolating in my thoughts as I have been going through this Mars retrograde story, which really feels so tied to tying up the Orion war wound. And so it doesn't mean that war is going to be over once this Mars retrograde story is over, because Mars is out of its shadow on May 2nd. But May the 4th this year, which is Star Wars Day, Mars leaving its shadow so close to Star Wars Day, just I was getting too many downloads about like how this wraps up a lot of that shit, and it's still going to be flushing out of the collective system. So they're going to try for World War III, and they're going to do all that. They're not going to get it because too many of us have been awakened to the true nature of reality, and also people like Alex Jones and fucking Joe Rogan and Andrew, like all those people, and decentralized media in general, they're all just like, why the fuck are we doing the war thing? Like they can see, whatever you feel about them as people, they can see through the stuff that's happening and how they're all trying to lead us into war again. And they're like, why are we doing that? So they have the ear of a lot of people who can agree with them and see that we don't need to be doing this, and have the arguments that make sense to them, that like, yeah, why are we allowing our politicians to take our tax dollars and money launder through war and stuff like that? Anyway, so that's my point. Like, we're done with the whole story, but it does have to flush out of our system. So this is the through part of the only way out is through. And so anyway, May the 4th feels really significant this year. And I heard another astrologer talking about it, and he had a whole different, he's not talking about aliens or Star Wars or any of this stuff, but he had a little reel about how May the 4th was a real chapter closing moment. And he was talking about it because that's the day, which I didn't even realize. I knew Pluto was going to go retrograde at some point because it's a regular fucking occurrence, but I didn't know when. And May the 4th is the day that Pluto goes retrograde. And so for him, the astrologer I was watching, his little video, he was talking about how this is the first time in our lifetimes that Pluto stations direct in Aquarius and will stay only in Aquarius. Because each time Pluto has gone retrograde in the past few years or whatever, it has retrograded back into Capricorn, which is about the power structures, the societal agreements, authority figures, that kind of stuff. And so it kind of gives power back to them a little bit because Pluto is the power of planet. The planet of power. And so it will give power to whatever energy archetype is in that sign that it's in. I was going to go off on a whole tangent about the financial system, but that'll come later. We'll get into it. Anyway, so this is the first time in 250 years or whatever that Pluto is going to be going backwards and only staying in the sign of Aquarius, which is the sign of the people, of revolution, of systems that are built for humanity and not just the elite. I hate calling them elite. They're so stupid. They're not elite, but whatever. You know what I'm saying. The top percentage of people who control everything, that's no longer, that doesn't have any power any longer. And so the power now is being given to the people and the new neural networks of humanity building out, decentralized media, decentralized financial systems, healthcare, farming, all kinds of stuff is going to be, and like a lot of technological advancements that no one is going to be able to hide anymore because again, the power is with the people and we're going to start just like putting stuff out there. They try to control it with like trademarks and patents and like blah, 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 whatever. If you just put stuff out there and not like just build your free energy machine and get it out, and I think there are, I know there are people working on stuff like this, even in the systems, like with the patents and the whatever, like the Kesh Foundation. I think they're in Iran, I want to say. But the guy is Iranian. I don't know if they're based in Iran. I think they're based in like Austria, and maybe there's one in Arizona. Anyway, the Kesh Foundation has been doing a lot with like different energy and plasma and stuff like that. If you go on their YouTube channel, they have tons of videos. He talks all about, new batteries and new everything. It's just really interesting shit. And so that's the kind of stuff that gets suppressed in the media, so you can't really see unless you know. But it's gaining wider audiences now because again, there's no energy behind the old power structures to suppress this information. And we're all decentralizing everything and listening to people on the other side of the political divide or the other whoever, we're finally listening to each other and kind of working on building out that good stuff. So I don't know. This is all really good, but it's just very intense because we're talking millennia of patterns of like the oppressor and and separation, fear of death, thinking that death is the end, that nothing is beyond this and, whatever. It's like death is only the beginning. There's going to be a lot of people shedding their mortal meat suits, avatars, whatever. And moving on to the next game in these coming years because they came here to experience the separation and the suffering and the pain, and they are not interested necessarily, or maybe they will in the future. Like, again, it's going to roll out for many years, like this new chapter, but a lot of people were only here to experience this old game. And so now that these new energies are flowing in, that the energies are changing in 2027, those energies are starting to flow in right now, and they're just kind of like, okay, cool, we worked out our karma, we had this experience we wanted to have, and now they're going to just leave. But it's going to look in the 3D just like a lot of people dying, which we're kind of at the mystery school. In general, mystery schools have been known to talk about these esoteric concepts and demystify some of the things that have been gate kept, like thinking that death is the end, for example. It's like, it's not. It's a portal to something new. Your soul is eternal, and it doesn't mean that we don't miss the physical beings, humans, animals, whatever, that have been in our present. So there is a lot of grief, and so we definitely have to honor all the grief and everything that's going on right now. There's been a lot of collective trauma, and so it doesn't always suit people to zoom out immediately and be like, oh, it's not real, death is fine. Like, well, you got to feel the feelings. And my God, have I been feeling feelings with Mars and Cancer. Oh my God. Mars is finally in Leo again, but that's what, I mean, again, Leo and Aquarius are opposite. So that's why this Pluto, Pluto-Mars thing is just like explosive, because Mars is like, I want to go. It's like, should I fight or should I leave? And there's a lot of tension, and Mars really wants to fight. And so when it's better to walk away, like, can you, or do you want to stick it, which is fine. Just fucking stick it to people. Like, that's fun. Enjoy your experience. I've been kind of indulging more in having like really strong opinions and judgments, and like saying absolute statements like, this stupid, I don't know, whatever, stuff that I would normally be like more zoomed out about. I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm not interested in being zoomed out right now. And so, yeah, but more ADD. Going back to my housemate moving out the same day as the mediation, because the power struggles were making me think of that. It was so funny in the final days when she was there. I was so tired of the tension. Just like, get the fuck out of my house. I wanted to just high key levels of stress, even though I was fine, nothing was wrong. It was gnarly energy, and I hated it. And Mars was having me sit in all the discomfort and allowing myself to still be the center of calm, even in the energy that was just like, I want to fucking rawr. So yeah, in the final days, we usually just avoided each other. Like, if she was in the kitchen, I would not really, although sometimes I totally did go in there pretending I needed something from the garage, or like going to the bathroom, even though I didn't, just to piss her off. So I totally did it. But like in the beginning, this was like a couple weeks ago, when the Pluto-Mars thing started to really ramp up, I was just like, I was tired of the games. I was like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't even care anymore. I just want her the fuck out of my house. But then she was feeling it. And so when I was cooking a few times, which I'm hardly ever in the kitchen, she like purposefully came in and started cooking her food too. And at that point, and so obviously I was super fucking triggered, and like my hands were shaking, and I was like, oh my God. But also it was hilarious. Just fine. Do your thing, man, if that's the way you want it. Anyway, so her move out date was Tuesday, and like in the middle of the mediation, and I was on my phone and calling in and whatever, I could see a text message, because I stopped responding. Like, when she would text me, I didn't read it. I just immediately deleted it. I was like, I know narcissist. You have to completely and immediately just remove energy. Any response is going to give them something to fight you with. And none of their arguments ever make sense anyway. And so you're spending half the time just like, wait, why did you say this when I said that? They don't give a fuck. Just stop arguing. They want your energy. They're vampires. And so I just stopped responding. So a last narcissistic attempt from her to like send me this text message, and I was like, I'm not responding. I just deleted it immediately. But I did see the first couple lines, and it was saying something about, you invited me multiple times to stay for free, only half of the bills, blah, 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 something. And I was like, I'm not. I was like, I don't want the argument, and I just deleted it. And then afterwards, after a few hours later, I was like, oh, that was also her trying to explain and justify why she's not going to respect my boundaries and actually pay me the rent that I asked for. So I was like, oh, you thought I was expecting you to be a better person, to actually live up to your end of the bargain? Okay, that's cute, because I didn't. And you just lived up to my actual expectation of 0. So the bar was pretty low, or as my friend Ellen says, the bar is in hell, and you still managed to limbo. That's kind of how she was. So I was like, oh. But when I got home on Tuesday, I was like, oh, my house. Oh, I could breathe. I felt brand new. I was like, this is incredible. I did a whole ceremony. I built a bonfire, which was the photo I posted on Instagram and Twitter, not Twitter, TikTok, when I advertised this stream for today. I was doing my fire ceremony. So I built this, I have a little fire ring in the backyard behind the barn, and I built a nice bonfire. Oh my God, the freaking fire gods have been with me every time I built a bonfire out there, because I'm like, I don't know, I'm just gonna play around and do the thing. So and it just immediately starts. I never have to use any starter. It just goes. I don't know. It's amazing. I feel like a fucking fire master sometimes. And so anyway, and I had my neighbor gave me some of his homemade elderberry Concord grape wine, which is fucking delicious. I brought my fancy glass, and I have a compost bin that I haven't used yet because it's been too much, whatever. And I was like, I want to have a ceremony to like initiate this compost bin, because I'm a trash goddess. We'll get into so many things to say, but let me just stay on topic. So I'm a trash goddess, and also I have this garden now, and you need compost for all the soil and stuff. And I don't produce a whole lot of trash because I don't really cook a lot and whatever, but the little I do, or whatever I do produce, I would like to put it. And now that I have this garden, anything that I don't use from the garden can go in the compost. Anyway, it's just like a really good thing to have. And so I was like, I just want to initiate and consecrate this beautiful compost, trashy, recycling energy barrel. And so all the letters that I wrote to myself and whatever, I took each page out of the diary that I'd written them and then burned it and put it in the compost barrel. It was hilarious because the one addressed to my finances, like old chapter finances, it died the slowest, painful death. It barely caught. It burned out almost immediately, quickly, and then I had to relight. I was like, yeah, that's kind of how it has felt, letting go of the blocks and the programming around scarcity and lack that I have had. So it was just a really funny, on the nose, I don't know. They're all my soul, my higher self, all the aspects of me. They're trying to get me to have a better time and just to laugh and not take things so seriously, even though they're not pushing me necessarily to, in a way where it's like, you can suffer if you would like, or whatever, but also if you want, you can kind of be a little more lighthearted about this because you are okay and everything is fine and whatever. So I was like, oh, good, hilarious. And I had a really good laugh, and that's what I did too. Under the fire ring, I dug a hole, because 2 days before this happened, all the move out and the mediation, all this stuff, I found 2 crow feathers together in the yard when I was picking up sticks, getting ready to mow. And I was like, okay, this is not a coincidence. Like, I knew it was 2 for a reason. It's been a lot of partnership kind of energy stuff. And I was like, okay, so I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I was like, okay, I put them in the compost barrel and I was going to take it. And then I took what else did I have in there? Oh my gosh. The feathers. Why can't I remember what I put? It was 3 things. Well, when I remember, I'll tell you. But anyway, I built a hole. Oh, Dorothy had left, she probably just dropped it or whatever, but some amethyst necklace that she had. And amethyst is my birthday and also my mom's birthday. Like, February is our birthday month. And that's the birthstone of February. And I was like, Dorothy has represented my mom, like the narcissist, that breaking of the patterns and cycles. And I was like, this is so perfect. It not only will like carry the energy of the housemate thing and standing up for my power and all this, but also my own mother, daughter, fear. We'll get into all that stuff later too. So it was that. And then whenever I remember the third thing, I'll eventually the library key. So I used to work at the library before I was fired. We'll get into that story also. But I had the key to the building still. Like, I was never going to go into that was not a thing I was going to do. But technically, you are supposed to, in the termination email they sent, they were like, make sure to turn in your key and your parking pass. Which, okay, go fuck yourself. So I had the library key. And so I was like, this is literally literal perfection of a little capsule of old chapter stuff, because it was a dream to work at the library. Obviously, that reality was a whole lot different from the dream, but still it was a dream. And it was a representation, like libraries represent the old systems and institutions, and in their best form, or at their best, it was a really great form of like public service. And, libraries are just such a beacon, in all the shit that goes on here. So even though they represent the old chapter, it was still just like a beautiful, the Library of Alexandria kind of energy, even though it was inverted and kind of doesn't really work in this chapter, but still, it was great. So I had those 3 things, and I put it in a hole and buried it. So the fire that I was building that day was going to consecrate the ground and clear the energies. And then I was burning the letters. Anyway, it was really amazing. And I came into my house like after I let the fire die down, and I laid on the floor. I was playing music because I have these sound chambers that I was in a class once where a woman she shared some of her meditation songs that she had written and whatever. So there's this beautiful music that just clears out all gnarly energy. Just, oh, it's amazing. So I had those 4 songs on a loop, just playing for 2 days straight, 2.5 days straight, just to clear out that. And I put it in the rooms where my housemate had been, and just like filling the whole house with just this fresh energy. So anyway, I just laid down on the floor, and I had my beautiful little lights on my altar lit, and my cats were all there. I just felt like, I felt like life was so sweet, and it came at such a weird time because it was Easter. It was literally resurrection energy, and I even said out loud, I was like, I feel like I've been reborn. and it's like it's like I've not had a near-death experience, but when you hear people talk about near-death experiences, they talk about how, or some extremely life-changing event, like whatever, you fear for your life, you're close to death in some way, and you come back and you're just like, holy shit, like you're just completely changed. Like life is sweet. The little things just are so much brighter and saturated and rich, and just, anyway, that's what it was feeling like as I was sitting in my house. And I was like, I really have, it was like I'd sunk into this new level of embodiment and joyful excitement about experiencing all of Earth's and life's pleasures, which is sort of speaks to Uranus and Taurus. Uranus spends about 7 years in a sign, and so he's about to move into Gemini in May. So he's kind of at those final degrees of Taurus. So the last 7 years or so, Taurus represents like the body, you know, and Tauresians are very like a garden, super Tauresian, getting your hands in the dirt and like building a good foundation and gathering the resources for future, you know, harvests and whatever, and enjoying like good food, good smells, good, you know, have lots of good sex, like just enjoy the pleasures of life. And so Uranus, so even though it's the body, it's like the 5 senses, you know, whatever. And Uranus is the revolutionary and the like lightning strike of change. And so it's the revolution of the body these past few years where we have been forced to listen to what our bodies are telling us, which is why I love human design, because it tells you how your body is meant to move through the world. But okay, so we've really had a lot of changes in listening to what our bodies will do and what they won't do, and having to revise, like, nobody wants to go to work anymore. Did anyone ever want to fucking go to work? I mean, no. Like, so you want to work at something that you love, obviously, but like the bullshit work that I'm talking, you know? So it's been a lot of just been shoved into a whole different energy. Speaking for myself, I've been shoved into this whole different energy of needing so much more rest, and my body will not do the things it used to do, which includes things like people pleasing, honestly, because I used to have these urges, like my body would be like, okay, I gotta say the thing to keep the peace and whatever. I don't know, man. It's just been a whole new revolution. And so when Uranus moves into Gemini in May, it'll retrograde back into Taurus, so it'll stay permanently, or for the next 7 years permanent, in 2026 when it finally moves back into Gemini. But when it moves into Gemini, it's like, that's the Uranus is freedom. Also, it's like freedom of the mind. Like Gemini is the mind and thinking. And so with Pluto in Aquarius's phrase in astrology is I know, and every sign has a phrase like I something. Anyway, Aquarius is I know. And with Pluto there, Pluto excavates everything in that particular sign. And so it's going to excavate everything we think we know. And then Uranus and Gemini, we're just going to be like, it's going to be a pretty incredible next several years, and it's going to be really electric. And Uranus transits can feel very traumatic because they're like lightning strikes. It feels like oh fuck, this has just totally changed, and I was not expecting any of this, and it's a left turn, and this. So I feel like I've had a lot of Uranian experiences lately, and in particular the past year, like my own electric power, my own electricity, which is for me the masculine, that's been coming online so hard. And so I've had a lot of Uranian experiences where I was just like, my life blew up again. I thought, what? I thought it's already in pieces. What the hell's going on? And then it would just like, boom, another lightning strike. And I'd be like, what? And then I've also played the Uranian role in, by my own choosing to change my own patterns. That has been like a sudden hard stop for boundary setting. So when people who are used to not running into a boundary with me and suddenly coming across one, they're like, so I've played my own role in that, and I don't know. I love it. Again, a little traumatic, and I don't, that's not fun, but you can either accept it or fight it. And so I'm doing my best to be like, yeah, it's great. I love this crazy, insane Uranian energy. And it's just as a side note, my town recently got there's a chain of fudge factories called Uranus, because the best fudge comes from Uranus. And this guy who created, I think it started in Missouri or something, he's the mayor of Uranus. Anyway, so the third store opened in my town. Well, I don't live in Richmond anymore, but it is I consider it my town because I grew up here. And that's where my old pirate ship farmhouse was. So anyway, as soon as I heard that Uranus Fudge Shop was coming to town, I was like, there's no way this is not going to indicate some crazy Uranian energy in my own life. And sure enough, the store opened the day before my first traumatic, what the fuck, like December 17th. Well, 17, again, the number, it opened December. So I was like, well, here we go. And all the things after that have just made so much sense. And I have been to the store. And even though, I don't know, is there really a difference in the world's best fudge? I mean, at this point, it's just kind of like, it's good. I will eat the sugar. I'm not going to turn it down. But I'm like, is it any better than anything else? But it is good. I mean, it is good. So, and I've gone a couple times just to kind of indulge my inner child of like wanting some taffy or fudge or whatever. But usually I stick with the taffy. For some reason, I've really been, I don't know. And it's just insane. Whenever you walk in there, they're like, welcome to Uranus. Oh my God. Anyway, that's got to get old saying that. I just got to say. Okay. So I don't even really know where we were at this point. Talking about Star Family and Star Wars and all the things and all the, so yeah, the T-square with the, Mars and Pluto, and then Black Moon Lilith, which is like not only our deepest soul wounds, it's like where we feel shame, and where we've longed to belong. And there is so much tension getting us, those hard aspects, like the oppositions, the squares, that's the get off the couch and do something about it energy. And so we had a lot of support doing this energetically. We had the Mars retrograde, we had the Venus retrograde in the middle of that, and then the Mercury retrograde in the middle of that. And so all those personal planets have been getting us to work through all those deepest wounds, all those deepest fears. And so we're coming out of it in the middle of May-ish. We'll be out of the Mars shadow May 2nd. I forget when Venus and Mercury clear, but it's within the next few weeks, I think. So anyway, but then again, when Uranus moves into Gemini, I think it's about the 17th, or it's in the middle of May, I'm pretty sure. And so that's just going to be a lightning strike of an energy change. And so the retrogrades are over, but then Uranus is like, whoosh. So something shocking is probably coming, but like, at this point, are we really going to be shocked? There's only a certain number of plays that anybody can do. I mean, we're going to be shocked because that's part of the game. We're supposed to not know what's coming and be like, oh my God. It's a fun escape route. Not that we're trying to escape, but those, you know what I mean? Like it's a fun, like scavenger hunt, mystery game kind of thing that we've come here to experience. And so we're still in the not quite remembered everything phase, but like we're getting a taste of that remembering of like our own power and how, oh my God, today I finally feel like I'm powerful again. And I'm like, that's right. Rah. I feel like I'm that video game character. Like, it is a boss battle for you. So that's how I feel today, but it has not been feeling like that the past week or so. But now that some of that tension is cleared, good Lord, here we are. But I mean, well, for me, that tension has cleared. Like, we're still in this for a few weeks or whatever, but it won't be as intense as it is right now over the next few days. And so I have this bracelet. it was one of those things where I got it from a coworker. She made it for me at the library because I'd covered some shifts for her. And it was just this thing. I was like, I felt like color therapy. It was just so soothing. Like, she was such an awesome person. And I just felt like it was really good energy. And I was like, okay, this is the kind of bracelet I wear until it like falls off on its own, kind of thing. Like, I'm just going to leave it on 24/7, just like let it do its thing. And it's so well made though that I was like, this thing is never going to fall off. It's going to be years. Well, during the Mars retrograde, this started to unravel, and it was no longer, and there was no, this other one's perfectly fine. So I was like, okay, this bracelet is ready to come off. Like, this whole chapter is ready to just close out, whatever. And so what my plan was to build a fire 3 nights in a row, starting the night that the mediation, like Tuesday of this last week, was like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That was going to be the day. I was like, if the weather holds and if I'm supposed to be doing it, I was like, that's my plan. I was like, we'll do the 3 days, because I do a lot of things in threes. They have me do things in threes. So I was like, okay, 3 days of fire. And then I forgot to burn this because I was going to burn it as part of the ceremony for closing out all that stuff. But I forgot. And I was like, okay, so I wasn't supposed to burn it then. Maybe I'll just go out and burn it the second night or whatever. Well, it's another life update. The next day, which was Wednesday, as I was going out to start the fire, I got a surprise visit from my mom and sister, who don't live in the area, but they came in with a puppy for me, because my sister had had a dream where I was in danger and a black dog saved me. Now, we're going to get into the dog energy here, but I'm going to finish the story first. And so she woke up because it was a bad dream, obviously, and she was really worried and all the things. And so when they were doing errands after mediation, whatever, and they had spent the night somewhere else, you know, because it was closer to the law office or whatever. So anyway, they were doing some errand at a cowboy type barn, whatever, and there were these puppies that were not in a great situation. So my sister will rescue fucking anything. She doesn't even like cats, but she has so many cats because she can't not rescue things. And so she gets these puppies, and one of them is a black lab. And so I have a dog now. I don't actually have her right now because I guess I'll just finish the story. So it was a great thing to finally say. I know. I haven't even told my friends this. Literally everyone is hearing this for the first time, because I have just been in like I've been in like shock and like crazy, insane like fear and anxiety energy, which again, I'll get into all that. But so I've been in a serious fucking, I'm losing my shit. Shay. Well, okay, so Shay knows perfectly well what this dog energy is I'm going to be talking about, is because we talked about this in our Sultry Circus episode, the last one that we just did. It is published on Spotify. It is also available anywhere else you would like to listen to podcasts. And I will be getting that episode up on YouTube at some point. I have just not had any energy or internet. So next week I should have some internet. We'll get there. Anyway, but yes, we talked about this dog energy. Bliss. Okay. So thank you. Bliss Timeline found me. I'm not really a dog person. I won't go into the whole story because I told it on Sultry Circus or whatever, but like just for the basic outline, I'm not a dog person. I'm very much more a cat. I understand cats. They make sense to me. I am a cat. Like, it's very, very easy to connect with that energy. And but dogs, I don't understand them. I love them because they're animals and I can see their beautiful souls and whatever. Their barking and the whining sets my nervous system on fire, and it's kind of like children. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot. And so I can handle them in small doses or whatever. I can dog sit, whatever. But as far as like having one with me all the time, that has always been a no. I'm like, I couldn't find a dog sitter. I want to travel, blah, blah. Well, as I was thinking about all this stuff, I was like, I can't even travel right now anyway. One, I don't want to. And two, I already have cats and they need to be taken care of too. So like, what is really that much different if I kept this dog? And so what I did was, because they couldn't stay very long, they were like, we only got the dog because because I have no income because I have no job. So they were like, we'll pay for the food and the vet bills, but like, we just want you to have dog here because safety, and even though it's a black lab, it's not like it's a crazy dangerous animal. Just seeing a black dog usually scares people enough to be like, you know, and I'm not worried about my safety or anything, but like I have been feeling like I'm supposed to have a dog out here, but in my head it was going to be someone else's dog, like miraculously, I don't know, maybe I borrow this dog, maybe I somehow get this too good of an offer to refuse roommate situation, who knows, but I was like, it's not going to be my dog, but I felt like a dog was supposed to be out there. And then I was like, oh Jesus Christ, here's the dog. So anyway, they were like, we're gonna, you know, if you don't want her, that's fine, we only got her with the intention, like if you don't want her, we will take care of her. It's not like they were gonna take her back or any of that stuff. They were being very as responsible as a crazy last minute insane decision like that could be. So I thought about, because I had a bad experience with a dog adoption earlier, like a few, I don't know, 10-ish or whatever years ago, and so I've been really like, it's just not been a thing. Yeah, it's a girl. It's a girl. So that night, I told him, I was like, okay, I'll keep her for now. It feels right that she stays here, and I don't know. We'll just I'll keep in touch. We'll see what happens. And so they left. I have the dog, and I spun out that night. I was like, oh, I can't actually do this. Oh boy. Like I felt like I wanted to vomit from like, oh, I made the wrong decision. But I didn't, at the same time, I could still feel, again, with like when I told the story of like getting my housemate, even I was like, my body was like feeling the pain that was to come, but also it was telling me to do the thing because we needed to go through this and whatever. So this was the same thing. It was like my body was not happy, my nervous system was whatever, but my body was like, this is the right thing. So I just sat with it and I was like, okay. And then I kind of just like, I don't really know how you talk to dogs necessarily, but I know it's like pretty telepathic with cats. And so I was like feeling into her name and whatever, and the name Ruby popped into my head, and I was like, okay, now that's weird, because I was wearing my Supernatural shirt and the character Ruby in the show, she's not even, whenever I think about Supernatural, I don't really think about the side-ish characters. I think about the main dudes. So I don't really think about Ruby all the time. So it's not like Ruby was in my head, even though I was wearing my Supernatural shirt. But on the show, I was like, oh yeah, Ruby was like the Crossroads demon. And she was a recurring character, whatever. And so I was like wearing my Supernatural shirt. And then I had also just earlier this month had filled out my Twitch bio, and I called myself the Crossroads Heretic at the Midnight Diner or whatever. And because the Crossroads energy is just like, that's my energy. That's where I am. And so it was just I was like, oh, okay, so she is supposed to be here, because there's no way all the synchronicities, you're just like getting the messages you need to get to like move through these experiences and be like, what do I do in this situation? Because your logical mind is like, I should probably not do this because blah, blah, blah reasons. But then your body is like, you should do these things because it's not going to make sense up here, but this is what happens. So anyway, the name Ruby pops in, and I'm like, it's actually a pretty perfect name for her. Like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh, the Crossroads demon. Oh, my dark feminine. Oh, the dog energy. Oh, the black dog. It was just like, oh. And so anyway, on the Sultry Circus episode, when I was talking about the dog energy, I had finally figured out earlier this year, back in February, beginning of March, that dog energy for me was my dark divine feminine. And I had been rejecting her because she was this black hole energy where nothing could ever be enough, never enough love, never enough validation, never enough, attention, whatever, never enoughness. And so I know, all the pieces come together. That's how it felt. And I was like, oh my God. And so I was like, this is my divine feminine dog. So my cat, Tim Curry, she's my divine feminine in one aspect, and then I have a divine feminine dog aspect, and it's this. So I was like, okay, I know she's supposed to be here. So then I kind of relaxed, even though I did not sleep that night. Really, I was so anxious and like. Anyway, I had her for 3 nights. We did that. She's actually really cool too. Like, she did whine a little bit, but it never really lasts for very long. And she just kind of like will go to sleep if I'm just like stay quiet. I'm like, it's nighttime. I'm not going to go out there, whatever. Just like, because I'm not ready for bed sleeping yet. Like maybe someday, I don't know. But I have this big dog crate that was at my old pirate ship or whatever. And so I brought that in and put it in the kitchen and had nice blankets and all the things. And anyway, so I had her in the crate, whatever, or in the kitchen. Anyway, oh my God, I woke up to a poop explosion in the kitchen. Guys, oh, Jesus. And I know that's not, it wasn't her fault. It's not like I'm mad. I was just like, oh, I forgot that, like, this is a thing. And I've never had a dog, so it's like potty training. Anyway. So she's been hanging out with me. We've been having fun. She'll come out in the yard. She's like really, really well behaved. Like, if I were to have a dog, this is a very good dog for me. Like, and I could feel it in her, when I was looking at her eyes, like the first night she was there, I was like, she just looked at me and she didn't seem like not a whole dog in a bad, like, she seemed like more than she was like, it was like when I first met Tim Curry. I could just feel this deep connection, like past, like we have been together, soul family, whatever. And so when I looked at her, I was like, oh shit, I've never felt that way about a dog before. Like, there's something behind in her eyes that is like, there's more to me than I can express right now because I am a fucking puppy. But like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. And I was like, okay. Oh my God. So I made it 3 nights. Oh my God, 14:14 as I look on the clock. I made it 3 nights. But before I made it that 3rd night, it was I was like, I can't, this is not going to work. I can't do the poop. The potty, it felt like a kid. I was like, I don't know what to do, but I need to call my sister and figure something out. And so she was like, listen, why don't I take her for a while? And then you can figure, like, we've got options. Like, I never was going to give her to you without, oh my gosh, Quentin is barking. Oh, he's a soul family. Okay, yeah. And so my dog, it's soul family, dog family is coming online. Okay, so anyway, I talked to my sister. She was like, let's just bring her back. We can take care of her for a while. She was already training because she rescued 3 of the puppies. So she's already potty training 2 of them. And she has an older dog and a few cats and 2 kids. And so it's like, Ruby's going to have a lot of socialization, stuff that I won't do because I don't, whatever. So anyway, I took her, I met my sister yesterday and whatever. So I had last night to sort of, oh my God, finally sleep because I have not, like I said, I have not really been sleeping very well. And so I just slept and I feel amazing. And like, what I feel like is going to happen is now that this divine feminine aspect of me is here and I have like embraced the things, because I've been hearing a lot about like the energy of this astrology right now, that T-square, whatever, is to see like the reaction to the block is the block. So when I think about that with the finance stuff for me, for example, because it's been a big, massive fear of scarcity, that kind of stuff. That's been my main, focus of stuff that I've been burning through. And so I'm like, what is my reaction to the scarcity and the fear and the block? Anyway, so the black hole dog divine feminine energy was the thing that I was shoving away still, that I thought was fine to shove away because like I don't ever have to be a dog person. I never have to acknowledge those parts of me or whatever. And so once I did accept those parts of me and this black dog IRL shows up, it just felt, I knew that she was tied to my abundance blockage breaking free stuff. And by inviting her into my home and like working with her in a way of like having fun and embracing my dog energy, where like dogs feel very Teresian and earthy. They're like enjoying the earth experience. They'll fucking roll in the mud or the shit. They'll eat fucking rocks. Like they're just like having fun and enjoying themselves in a way with pure abandon, in a way that cats don't always. And I definitely don't not hardly ever, but like I'm getting a lot better, but I've had a lot of uptightness going on, so I can use some more of that dog energy. And so I've been asking Venus, I'm like, what is keeping me from living my most abundant, like feminine, receiving, like joyful, supported life? And so these are the answers that are rolling in to work with the dog energy. So what I feel like is going to happen is I will allow my sister to do I'm going to say all of the potty training, because that was another thing about this experience, was like, you can ask for help. And I know that, and I've had other experiences with like asking for help and over the past few years, so I know that I can do it. It's still uncomfortable sometimes, but like I'm getting more comfortable and it's fine. But like in this case, I thought it was not okay to ask for help because I was like, no, I committed to it. I gotta fucking, do the whole thing, and I gotta be miserable, and no, you don't. if there is help available, why don't you do it? Me talking to myself. I'm like, okay. So I did. That's why I was like, I think even though it was a very short introduction, it needed to be like an imprint. And that's why it was 3 nights. And talk about demon energy, like 3 nights, not 3 days, 3 nights. It's just like really cool synchronicities all over the place. And so it was just to get to know each other, to realize that we're supposed to be together, but maybe when she's a bit older. And maybe, I think it would be awesome to have her yet this year, but like, I don't know that I'll have her over the summer. I don't know how long it takes to train dogs to do anything. So whatever my sister is like, yep, she can mostly sleep through the night, whatever. That's about the time I'll be like, okay, here we go. And so who knows how long it's going to be. This year has been so fast anyway that maybe it is sooner than I think, but feels like about 3 months or whatever. Who knows? But it will be a humongous stretch for me because, again, I am not used to, we had dogs growing up, but like I was always the cat person, and I would only ever really dog sit if like my mom and sister weren't there for whatever reason or whatever. So like I never really, they weren't mine. I didn't feel like, but this one is going to be mine. And I can feel into the companionship of it and like how she'll be there anchoring in this awesome energy. And I've been like, well, I already said this. I was like, I've been feeling I'm supposed to have a dog out here because one of the things that helps keep critters away from the garden and, that kind of stuff is the scent of a dog. More male dog probably would be more effective or whatever, but any dog really. And I don't really, sorry, but like the whole lifting the leg and the penis thing, fuck, ugh, just give me a girl dog. Sorry. I know, like I said, I'm uptight. I don't know. I'm like, oof. And that's the thing, like dogs, I'm like, oh my gosh, she was like slobbering and stuff. And I was like, oh geez, I'm so uptight. I'm so uptight. I'm such a cat. That's it. And that's fine. You know what? I used to be so ashamed of myself and it's just who I am. And I'm getting better and it's going to be fine. But it's just really funny to think about me having a dog. And again, yeah, just like the stretch of all that, how it's going to be. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have no idea. But that's the life update. That's the life update. Oh yeah, speaking of the garden, that was the other thing that's been happening throughout this whole time period. Like the day before, or a few days before my housemate moved out is when my neighbor came over to help me do the rest of the garden. It was such a hot day and like, it was just, anyway, actually I got that wrong. That was like the beginning of the garden. We did the actual garden, the planting of stuff 2 days after Dorothy moved out. And it was the day, so he met the dog, like all the stuff. Sorry, I got like linear time gets fucked itself in my brain right now. So I just didn't. Anyway, so Lee came over. We planted tomatoes, onions, kale, lemon balm, chives, green beans. I think that was it. That was it. Like that was a lot. And we're later, once the plants are ready, or when it's better weather, whatever it's going to be, like that's when you do sweet potatoes and then maybe some Brussels sprouts. I don't know. A lot of the stuff, who knows? So I still have some to go, but I have my garden and it's been planted. And it just, after that resurrection, with the Tuesday move out mediation thing, and then like getting this dog the next day, and then like the garden the day after that, it was just like 3 days of like, holy God. And I was so tired, so fucking tired. Like that, it was beautiful. Like every time I work in the garden, every phase of the garden, there's only been 2 so far, but like every time I'm just like rediscovering muscles I did not remember that I had. I'm like, wow. So I have like my heating pad and like only this time after planting the garden, I couldn't take a hot shower. And I was like, oh, I took a PTA shower and that was about, I did wash my hair in the sink, but like I did wash my hair yesterday too. And I haven't been able to use conditioner because like, I don't know if the water, I just don't have the patience to try and get enough hot water. Because I have to boil water to add into the cold tap water. Anyway, so I'm like, it's just shampoo. But honestly, maybe I'll stop using conditioner. It's just turning out better. I wanted to show up as presentable and professional as possible to my mystery school class. Like you gotta take a shower, at least as best you can. Oh, PTA is pits, tits, and ass. It's just like getting the major things. I had a babysitter when I was younger, and she was a cool college student, and she called them PTA showers. I thought that was hilarious, and I just have been saying it ever since. I know not everyone uses that, but yeah, pits, tits, and ass. That's what you're washing in a quick like. So that's been my experience for the past. I wasn't able to take a long hot shower, but I still felt amazing. Okay? I felt amazing having a garden and like just putting in the work for it. And so these are my creative projects now. Like growing up, in this old chapter I'm talking about, like I never thought of myself as a creative person. Like, yes, I played music, like I was, I studied, I was a music major, whatever. So I know that's like part of creativity, but it never really felt like it was. Like I don't know. I didn't create to my, or connect to my artistic self. And I kind of just thought I don't have any or whatever. And now I'm realizing that I am the art and the artist, and my life is the art that I'm, what I'm creating now is art. And I don't know, I've just reframed my whole perspective on what art even is and like who is capable of it, because I thought I wasn't capable, that kind of stuff. It's been really, really amazing. And that's actually tied into a good point about this new moon, because the new moon, excuse me, throat chakra, clearing out. I had an acupuncture appointment yesterday. He put I think it was like here somewhere, somebody, oh my God, the emotions. He was like, yeah, you have some stuck emotions. You have it. I'm like, mm-hmm. I was like, I cried the whole day. I was like crying. Oh my God. It was amazing. So anyway, yes, the Taurus new moon is today, and the Sabian symbol, which I don't really know a whole lot about Sabian symbols, but like, it's just a symbol representing parts, like I don't know if it's each degree of the zodiac or like if there's a clump of degrees, whatever. Anyway, the symbol for this new moon in Taurus is sleigh without snow. And so on one level, you can look at this and be like, well, this sleigh is fucking useless. There's no snow, whatever. And so it's kind of, and with that, so that's what it was, the T-square. The black moon Lilith, I think those are opposite. There's a grand cross, basically. It's not just a T-square. It's a grand fucking cross in all the fixed signs. So Scorpio, Aquarius, Pluto, Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo. So we're all kind of feeling this energy, and the fixed signs don't want to make changes. But when they do, or when they're forced to, it's like an earthquake, and you're like, fuck. And that's what it's really, again, Uranus rules earthquakes and anything like sudden like that. So that's, anyway, so this grand cross of like, get off the couch and do your stuff. So the sleigh without snow energy is, on one level, it's just useless. But when you're realizing that like, it's not useless, it's just waiting for snow. So we've been sitting in a lot of energy with the grand cross stuff of like, we've had these plans, we've had these manifestations, we keep thinking we're getting started or whatever, and nothing is working out. We keep hitting our head against a wall, and so we're like, okay, what the fuck? And so it's kind of like, well, what's the point of doing any of this? Is it ever getting better? Which is what the energy I've been in, which is like, I've been doing all this fucking work, and the pressure around money has not alleviated. Like I'm able to stay calm and regulated, because I do understand. I know future me has all the shit, like, and more that I could even imagine right now, but I'm just taking the steps to get there. And so right now, that's why I'm doing so many things that make no fucking sense, because I'm like, I know my future self is right there. I will do literally whatever it takes to get there, including having a dog in my house. Like, I will do whatever it takes. So anyway, it's just, nothing has really been working out. So I've been in this energy of just like, well, what's the point of doing all this fucking work then? I guess I just am a miserable person who never has enough money, or who's always feeling so negative, who's always feeling like I'm doing really poorly while other people are doing great. And like, I'm not that I'm genuine happiness for people who are doing awesome. Like, we need more of that, because that gives those of us who are struggling hope that it actually does get better. And also anchoring in that energy of joy. Like, we got to have people doing that, because there's a lot of us who are just like, what the fuck? So I've been sitting there just like, why the fuck has nothing gotten better? Which I understand things have gotten better, because like I can see so many improvements in my life. But when you're in the misery of scarcity and lack, and you're just like, but I know it's going to be fine. Like, I feel it. I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing. So what the fuck is the point? Sleigh without snow. But it's just, sleigh is waiting for the snow. It's not useless. It's not quite there. So it's just like more of that divine timing thing, where like a lot of shit right now looks like we're in the face of like taking those steps forward and making those changes, even though everything out there in the external world is telling us there's no point. It's just going to be bad, and there's going to be more war. There's going to be whatever the messages are. It's like, that's that's not reality. That there's something going on with this divine timing. There's been a shitload of spider sinks. I mean, I had a wolf spider in my bedroom the other day, and I was like, okay, we need to get these messages across and not as nerve jangly of a way. And they're not dangerous. They're just huge. They're just fucking huge. And I'm like, okay, not in the bedroom. Anyway, so the spider energy for me is like weaving behind the scenes. And so a lot of stuff that, like, we keep hitting our head against a brick wall, but we're still making incredible progress, because what we're doing is like burrowing deeper into our own selves and our own power and our own inner authority, even as we're hitting our head against the wall. And like behind the scenes, stuff is weaving around, like the power. I don't know what's happening. We're going to be finding these things out as the years go by, but like we're breaking through those brick walls. They're kind of, we're being held in place a little bit, not held in place in a bad way, but again, to like burrow deeper and like get all those roots out and clear so much, because when we get released, holy shit, we're going to be able to run so hard and so far and so fast. And like everything that's going to be coming in, it's just going to be like a dam burst kind of stuff. So it's not, there's whatever bad stuff is still going to be happening as it flushes through the system, but like there's amazing shit on the horizon. And it's just sleigh without snow. Right now, we're kind of in this pressure cooker. We have all these seeds, and we're going to be harvesting them in the full moon of Taurus, which is in about 6 months. And that, not to say that things aren't still going to be happening for us. It's that we'll probably break through those walls sooner than Taurus season, but we're going to have a lot of real interesting stuff in the next 6 months because of this moment, how we're transforming our own patterns, how we're showing up in relationships, how we've been breaking ancestral and karmic curses left and fucking right, just by changing our own reaction to things, the stress, the conflict, the fear, the pressure, how we move through those differently than we ever have. That's what's breaking the patterns, and that's what's building the new world. And so anyway, there's a lot of good shit going on, but we will be feeling, when Pluto, I forget, it's going to be in July at some point, that we're probably going to be faced with, not probably, what we're going through now will have a little bit of in July, there'll be like a phoenix burning off of anything we haven't faced about ourselves in this way. But for the people who've done the work, I don't think it'll feel insane, because I feel like it's going to be like, whoa, that I didn't know that about myself. Like it might be more, it's probably more like that, where for the housemate person, for example, my old housemate, she might have more of a less pleasant, but I don't know. And that's me being petty and kind of wanting that. But also, if you haven't done the work, or if there's things you need to see about yourself, you're going to see more of that stuff in July. And then, by the Taurus full moon and that kind of stuff, which is in Scorpio season, November, I can't keep anything straight. That's when we're going to be kind of seeing the stuff that we're writing our new stories. We're showing up with new energy signatures, and that forward movement is going to be really paying off, or we're going to see a lot of payoff as the months roll by for that. So it's not like everything's going to be fixed by the Taurus full moon, but like a bunch of stuff is going to make a lot more sense, I feel like. But that's also about, like, fall time is about the time of year they really like to throw some crazy shit. So who knows there's going to be a lot of stuff happening. This year is a 9 year, which is a closing out of cycles. 2025 breaks down to a 9. It's a closing out of cycles, and it kind of overlaps with starting new ones. So it's fun, because some people are starting these, like, a lot of new projects are starting, like this Twitch stream, for example. And like, I am literally building the ship as I'm flying it. So it's like, I don't know, you just got to make it exist and then make it pretty later or whatever. And I was kind of thinking about that too, with the astrology, the T-square, with the Black Moon Lilith, and like the longing to belong, and how I've been feeling so lonely. And I love being alone. I prefer being alone. But like, there are moments where I'm just like, I want some fucking help. Like, I can't do all this shit by myself. I need support staff, basically. Or like, and I don't mean servant wives. I mean like soul family who are coming in to like fucking do some of these things, and I keep having to do everything by myself, and I'm like, this sucks. And then I posted my little promo for today's stream, and and when I went over to put it on TikTok too, because I forgot you could put music to it or whatever, and I found this song. It was like Girl on Fire, and I had this fire in my photo, and I was like, oh my God. And I posted this, and I was like, I watched it so many times. One, because the music's good, but two, I was like, wow, they really sent the best. I am the best. Like, I know I am, but I've been having a hard time feeling it. It's easier for me to tell other people. I'm like, they don't send the B team for this kind of real ascension, crazy, complicated game. This Earth school is going to only take the best. And so I keep telling other people that, but I'm like, I know it applies to me, but I don't really feel it. And last night I was feeling it. I was like, holy shit. And then instead of feeling like, fuck, I have to do all this by myself, I'm like, look what I fucking did by myself. Sleigh without snow. Sleigh is not, it's not, I'm fine being a sleigh without snow right now because I'm just like, what cool shit am I looking at, right? That I have never considered myself a creative person or a leader or a starter of anything. And here I am doing literally all of that. And it took a lot of conflict to get me there. Like it took, one of the things that I think Dorothy really helped me with was like, she just needed to be there so that, and not do anything, even though that's what the agreement was for her to like take the lead on this stuff. And so when she didn't do that and I had to, I was pissed about it at first. And then I was like, wait, it literally just showed me I didn't need to wait for anyone else. Anyway, so that's the kind of thing. And the same thing with this mystery school. I know there's going to be so many developments so quickly, but like for now, I'm doing everything on my own. And instead of feeling like insanely shitty about that, I'm like, oh my God, look at what, and my mind was just like blown because I was finally feeling my mastery. And there was a couple other things coming in about, my own soul threads that I've been kind of working on, like soul aspects. I've 13 aspects that I've been working with, and they all have different things we're working on. Anyway, so I had a lot of clarity about that. I'll get into that later. I'll probably start talking about on the podcast and stuff too. So anyway, just a lot of really cool stuff going on, even though it has been stressful as goddamn fuck. And so I finally felt that clearing last night and the relief, and my nervous, like I'd listened to my body and been like, I do need help with this dog thing, whatever. So it was a really nice way to sort of come out of the underworld, and I'm back to feeling like reborn again. And so I don't know, I'm spreading that energy to all of you watching and everyone else who is just connected to me energetically without watching. When your cup overflows, you gotta shoot it out to other people, because I do that because I really enjoy. You can feel when you have this fresh energy. And if you don't even have to know where it comes from, but like soul-wise, we can send each other energy and kind of help our human selves. And so this energy is so delicious, and it's just like spilling out of me into the grid. And like, if you're having a tough time, cheers, mate. Like, you are Buffy. Yes, I carry Mr. Pointy with me everywhere. I'm not even joking. He's always in my purse. Good bro. So anyway, I love you all. I probably will be streaming. It looks like I'm streaming with the lunations, like every, new moon, full moon. But I am going to be gone at a music festival called Mothership. I'll talk all about Mothership later because it's a really fun plot line in this story that is my galactic pirate ship self. And so I'll be gone from the 7th through the 17th or something like that. Anyway, I'll be gone, but maybe when I come back and get more on track, where it goes back to lunations, who knows? But it's going to be Sundays for show, and I love this 1:17, starting time. I'm really enjoying the alchemy around the number 17. So we're going to keep having our parties, keep having some fun stuff going on. So I love you. I will see you next time. And you know what? Kick some ass. You need to give yourself some credit. You're doing a great fucking job. This is hard as fuck, but it's hard as fuck to be more easeful in the future. So good job sticking with it. I know it's been a lot, but you're Buffy.